Hello, I'm Stephanie Weston and this is my own story, Whirlwind Romance. Every morning I'd go out with my notebook and pen to check my weather indicators. I'm a semi-professional meteorologist. Do I get paid for my forecasts? No, not as such. But I photographed a lot of clouds and I've clocked up many hours studying Thomas Schaffernacker, so that must count for something. Monitoring the fish in the local stream and the leaves on the horse chestnut tree on the edge of the village was straightforward, but scrutinising the behaviour of the cows could prove tricky. The animals themselves were all right on the whole, apart from the one that stared at me in a menacing manner. He put me in mind of Magneto in those Marvel films. No, it was the farmer, Douglas Collins, who caused problems. He didn't like it if I got too near his cows. He said I unsettled and distressed them. He claimed my eyebrows unnerved them. I think it's just a personal vendetta. This is a remote part of the country, and not everyone appreciates people of learning like myself. Anyway, on the morning in question, at 8 a.m, I started my customary observations. I couldn't see any fish in the stream, and the horse chestnut leaves had an odd glint to them, which should have started alarm bells ringing. But it was when I saw the cattle that my heart started pounding. They were all standing there in a line, facing the same way, stretched across the field. Now, being an educated person, I am au fait with the work of Professor Diego Albarez from the University of Yucatan. He is one of the foremost animal behaviourist meteorologists in the world, and he wrote a groundbreaking paper on how changes in atmospheric pressure affect cattle when there is a tornado on the way. Surely not. Surely not in rural England. The changes make the cattle move in an odd way, almost as if they were dancing. His moment of revelation came when he spotted two of them doing the lambada. I looked at the line of cows and, full of dread, whistled a few bars of Achy Breaky Heart. Sure enough, they all shuffled sideways and then turned through 45 degrees. I was rooted to the spot in fear. What could I do? The whole of Upper Dullbury would be decimated. And as for the livestock, didn't bear thinking about. I rushed into the village and made straight for Twee Tea Times, the local cupcake emporium. This was run by my friend Daniel, who definitely had the look of Thomas Schaffernacker about him. I yelled at him that there was a tornado on the way. Initially, he was sceptical. Is this the same as the blizzard last week, or the tsunami the week before that? Admittedly, I'd not always got everything 100% right in the past. But at that moment, the sun went in and a brisk wind suddenly sprung up. We both looked up. The clouds themselves had an odd greenish tint about them. I suppose it might be best if we warned people, Daniel said, just in case. As he rushed off to bang on the doors of the shops and the houses in the village, I knew where my duty lay. I had to inform farmer Douglas Collins and do my best to save his poor animals. I ran up the hill towards the farm, only to see him coming the other way. I called out to him, "Farmer, there's a tornado on the way. We must secure your animals." "Poppycock, I've got some business to conduct in the tweezers and trumpet. You stay away from my cows and don't go a-meddling with them." He'd be drunk again by lunchtime. I ignored him. I could not let those innocent creatures suffer. When I got to the field, I was horrified. It looked like the early stages of Strictly. But what was I to do? I needed to secure them to something. But to what? Their shed looked much too flimsy to withstand a full-blown tornado. The wind was certainly getting up now, the trees whipping furiously, while the sky turned a darker and even more menacing shade of green. I saw Daniel approaching. "Did you warn them?" I asked. "I did my best, but oh my God, look at the cows." I explained we needed to tie them to something. Easier said than done. "I know," said Daniel. "How about the circle of standing stones? It's only in the next field, and even the strongest wind won't be able to uproot them." He got some rope from the cowshed, and we opened the gate, and with great difficulty persuaded the cattle to dance through. By now they seemed almost delirious. One was attempting the twist, while another was clearly inspired by rave culture. All they needed was a whistle, a bottle of water and a glow stick necklace. Working together, we finally got them tied to a standing stone each, except predictably the one that had always given me the evil eye. At this moment, Farmer Collins appeared, furious and drunk. "You've got no business a cattle meddling. You untie my cows," he was shouting, although we could barely hear him over the roar of the wind, and the recalcitrant cow stood smugly behind him. I was about to reply, but at that moment the wind suddenly ceased. Then there was a roar like an express train, and a tornado dropped from the sky and headed straight towards us. I shut my eyes, but the last thing I saw was farmer and cow being swept up, never to be seen again. The rest of them survived, I'm pleased to say. When I opened my eyes, I realised that, lashed to a stone together, Daniel and I were holding hands. "If I can be your Thomas Schaffernacker, will you be my Carol Kirkwood?" he said. A silver lining indeed.